Okay, listen, pay attention, Africa. You see, I read Things Fall Apart 78 times. I kept asking myself, why do I keep repeating this book? The universe, what do you want me to learn? When I was about to read the 79th time, I found the reason why. Immediately I found the reason, I went to the university, knocked at the door of my professor. I said, Professor, it's a town crier. What is it? I said, Professor, did Okonkwo in Things Fall Apart commit suicide or was he killed by the white men? The professor looked at me astonished. He said, town crier, you are a genius, a book donor. You of all people should know that Okonkwo committed suicide. He was not killed by the white men. I said, beautiful professor. Professor, you are a professor in philosophy. Professor, did Socrates, the great Greek philosopher, did he commit suicide or was he killed by the Athenians? He's a town crier. I'm surprised with your questions. You of all people should know that Socrates was accused of corruption, of corrupting the Athenian youths against the Athenian gods using his teaching. So he was given two options. It's either you renounce your teaching or you drink hemlock, which was a poison. Socrates, being a man of integrity, chose to teach his students that truth is worth more than his life. So he drank hemlock at the oracle of Delphi. So that was not suicide. They killed him, it's not suicide. Because abnormal reaction in an abnormal situation is a normal behavior. As a beautiful professor. Professor, the enslaved Igbo people at St. Simeon Island, Georgia country, did they commit suicide? Because they walked into the water saying, did they commit suicide or was it act of self-preservation? He said, town crier, that is an act of self-preservation. I said, thank you, Professor. Professor, during the medieval India period, the women perform what is called juha. When the enemy is approaching and defeat is imminent, the women walk into fire, mass immolation. Is that suicide? Or were they killed by the enemy? It's a town crier. That's an act of self-preservation. It's not suicide. I said, beautiful. Professor, I ask you again, did Okonkwo in Things Fall Apart commit suicide or was he killed by the white man? Professor was quiet because I've gotten him where I wanted him. I said, Professor, listen to me, Professor. I have a question for you, a rhetorical question in the echo of the universe. Professor, if a man chooses death over dishonor, did the man kill himself? Or did he choose not to let the enemies kill his soul? Professor, I will answer that question. History calls it suicide. But I tell you today that sometimes death is the loudest word to say no. Okonkwo is a honorable man in Umuofia in Things Fall Apart. To an Igbo man, death is not the most painful thing. The most painful thing is dishonor. Okonkwo knew that the white man's court is going to humiliate him, parade him as a captive, and at the end of the day, unalive him. So him hanging himself was a way of saying, you, the white man, will not choose how my story is going to be told. You will not choose how my story is going to end. So what Okonkwo did was not suicide. It was an act of self-preservation of integrity. That is why his friend Obiorika said to the white man, you have made this man a honorable man in Umuofia, hanged himself. You push him to suicide. And the white man was dumbfounded because he knew what he did. You see, when you talk about suicide, two things should come into perspective: form and intent. The form of suicide is the act of ending one's life. But when we talk about the intent, we look at the reason, we look at the why, we look at the conscious choice behind the act. Two persons can die the same way, yet one is suicide. The other is a statement, a protest, an act of self-preservation of integrity, which was what Okonkwo chose in Things Fall Apart. Okonkwo did not commit suicide. He was killed by the white men because just as Socrates was pushed to drink hemlock, Okonkwo was pushed to commit suicide. You know why I'm telling you this? Because Okonkwo is disturbing me, telling me, town crier, you will be my advocate to tell the world I did not take my life. And the white man pushed me to it. The white man took my life because there is so many African leaders today who have no compromised. Sylvanus Olympio was Okonkwonized. Patrice Lumumba was Okonkwonized. Thomas Sankara was Okonkwonized. Kwame Nkrumah was Okonkwonized. Because when they took him out, Ghanaians were celebrating, looking at the form and not the intent, not knowing that they are going into something that will not come out from. Today, IMF and World Bank force our leaders to go into loan. They borrow loans so they can indebt us and our generation. At the end of the day, they blame us of corruption. That is them pushing us to hang ourselves. That is what I call being uncompromised. You make the place not suitable for human beings to live. When our people go through Sahara Desert and the Mediterranean Sea to go to Europe and America, you accuse our leaders of not doing well enough. But you have destabilized the entire continent and you blame us for being corrupt. That is you compromising us. Chinua Achebe prophesied that many years ago. Abnormal reaction in an abnormal situation is a normal behavior. If you don't want Africans to be immigrants in your borders, you must remove your hand from African resources. That's why the Igbo men said, if you do not remove the hand of a monkey from a pot of soup, it will turn into the hand of man. Africa, we must refuse to be colonized. We must refuse to be colonized. Wisdom Africa is the principal thing. Remember, I'm still going from school to schools, giving free books to African children. Be part of this campaign of changing lives. This is legacy. This is impact. My number is in my bio. Message me. Let's buy books and take the African students. Reading is a mental capacity. It's a mind that cannot grow. If we can impact our children, if we can teach them early what we learned late, our society will change. Be part of this campaign. I love you and I care about you. I love you and I care about you. I'm still giving free books. 2 days after I will respond to you for 8 hours because of my time. I'm just coming back from work, but I want to teach you this thing. You can see, just me here, I'm just coming back from work, but I need to teach you to understand because I love you, Africa. We must unite. Remember, I told you that the bag said Ghana must go, but the dream said Africa must grow. Follow me on Facebook. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Modern Day Tankwaya on all platforms. Tankwaya Read is where I review my books on Africa on YouTube. Follow me there too. But make sure you follow Modern Day Tankwaya on Facebook. Okay? Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Modern Day Tankwaya. I love you. I love you and I care about you. Okay? Thank you for all your support all these years. I love you and I care about you. Africa must grow. Remember my last spoken word? I said the bag said Ghana must go. But the dream said Africa must grow. Africa, wisdom is a principal thing. Wisdom Africa is the principal thing. Let the love of this continent burn in your heart. We must change it. And we will. Wisdom Africa is the principal thing.